Hello everyone, George here, Catholic Positive Energy. Nice to see everyone. Uh, so, I was hoping to come on during the day, but for most of the day today I had my car worked on and it took several hours, so I wasn't able to come to you during the day. But I'm here without fail. Right now I'm officially on a short break from school because I just finished another course and I'm starting a new one next Monday. Boy, time really flies. So this week's broadcast is called There Are Different Levels of Crazy. Now, you remember about a month ago when I talked about, and this is, I think so far this is my favorite video, the one, number 104, how to successfully talk someone out of suicide. Now, I want to talk about the word crazy. Now, I'm sure, like I said, if any of you have ever had suicidal thoughts, or if you're having them right now in your life, or you know someone who has or still is. Now, I'm sure that a lot of you would consider that person to be crazy. Now, I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but I'm sure if you met somebody who thought about taking their own life, you would think they're crazy, and I don't see anything wrong with you thinking that. Now, because I've been there myself, I have a different opinion, and it's totally fine if you disagree with me. Now, this is my opinion. I don't think somebody who says that they're thinking of ending their life or they wish they'd never been born, I don't think they're crazy. I feel that they're just very devastated and they are crying out for help. This person has been hurt. This is someone who is a good person, but they're devastated about some trauma that is happening in their life. So they're crying out for help. That's why they're talking to other people about ending their life, because they're not so sure if that's what they want to do. So that's why they're talking to somebody, because they want to see if there are other people who care about them and will hopefully be there for them and save them. Now, like I say, if somebody is having suicidal thoughts, if they're really serious about it, normally they won't tell anybody. They won't try talking to other people about those thoughts. That's why they're talking to people, because they want to try to find a reason not to do it. Now, like I say, somebody who has suicidal thoughts and who talks to other people about them, I don't think they're crazy. I feel that they're crying out for help. They're devastated, they're sad, they need someone to be there for them, and hopefully, and obviously I will be there for them if I'm the one they talk to or if I overhear what they're saying. And for all of you watching, I certainly hope that you will be there for these people as well. Because if, like I said, I mean, about 19 years ago, I thought about taking my life, and I'm very glad that I didn't. Now, I actually spoke to other people about this because that's what I was doing. You see, I wasn't sure if that's what I wanted to do, so I talked to other people, even people like, strangers, and I will tell you this. I did not meet one single person who said, okay, go ahead, do it. I don't care. Nobody said that to me. And there were some people who I barely knew, who I was just starting to get to know, people maybe I didn't even know, and everybody tried to talk me out of it. Everybody tried to give me reasons why I shouldn't do it, and I was very happy about that. Now, if you're somebody who is going through something right now, please, I will tell you this, for the love of God, if you ever meet somebody who is thinking of taking their life, please don't ever tell them, okay, go ahead, do it, I don't care. Don't say that, okay? Don't. That is one of the worst things you could ever say to another person. This is your chance to be there for someone and make a positive impact on somebody's life who has had very, very little positive impacts in their life. If you can make a positive impact on their life, save their life, prevent them from taking their life, then you will have done a very wonderful service for them and for our Lord God. You saved somebody from themselves. So anyways, back to the crazy. Like I said, I believe there are different levels of crazy. Like I was just saying, somebody who is having suicidal thoughts who talks to other people, I don't think they're crazy. Now, everything I'm saying here is my opinion. You can disagree with me if you like, but I'm speaking from the heart and through my life experiences so far. Now, let's stay on the topic of people who have suicidal thoughts, but I'm exploring a different angle and a different side of the story. This is not like video number 104. Now, let's say somebody's having suicidal thoughts and they strapped a bomb to their chest, and let's say they're in a public place and they tell people who are close by, don't come near me or I'll set this bomb off and we all go up. Now, I've never met anybody like that, and I hope that I never do. So, like I say, if somebody straps a bomb to themselves and they're really serious and they're talking like that, now I consider that to definitely be crazy. Now, on the crazy scale, like I said, the first thing I talked about, people who are suicidal and talk to other people about it, I would consider that, on a scale from 1 to 10, I would consider that to be maybe a 1. Now, as far as somebody who straps a bomb to themselves, that definitely a 10. And this is all my opinion. Now, if you go to the trouble of strapping a bomb to yourself, oh yeah, I consider that to be very crazy. Absolutely crazy. I'm sure everybody will agree with me on that one. You'll probably say on your crazy scale that'll rank way above 10, and I totally understand. Or here, let's go in between 1 and 10. Let's say somebody is thinking of ending their life and they happen to get a hold of a gun or a knife, and they're thinking about doing it, but they don't follow through with it. Let's say, oh, they're looking at the gun and they're playing with it and they're thinking maybe this is the hot ticket, or they do that with a knife or a hammer or something. I would consider that, on the crazy scale, I would say, I would probably rank that at maybe a 3 or a 4, you know? I mean, because they're looking at that and they're thinking about it, but they don't actually do it. There's a chance that they'll change their mind. Now, like I said in video number 104, I know I said this, but I'm going to say it here. Now, like I said, as far as the strapping a bomb to themselves, I've never heard of a case where somebody strapped a bomb to themselves and then they changed their mind. You know what? I think I'm making a big mistake. I'll take this bomb off. You know, normally people don't do that. So if you went to the trouble to strap a bomb to yourself, yeah, you're crazy. Now, as far as somebody who is playing with a gun or a knife, like I said, that's definitely above a 1. So I'd say 3 or 4 for that. Because there's a chance that they'll change their mind and they won't do it. Or let's say somebody talks about, like maybe they're thinking of throwing themselves out the window or jumping off a building. Now, if somebody goes to the trouble to walk to the top of a tall building and they're right on the edge and they're considering jumping, like let's say they're right on the edge and they're standing on the edge and other people can see them and they'll think, oh my gosh, there's a jumper. This person's crazy. On my crazy scale, I would rank that maybe a 9. You know, I consider the bomber thing to be more crazier than that. But if somebody goes to the trouble to go to the top of a tall building and possibly jump off, yeah. I mean, and they're literally right on the edge. Now, there is a chance that they'll change their mind and maybe, I don't know, cops will arrive and there will be a negotiator and they try to convince them, hey, you don't want to do that, okay? That's the worst thing you can ever do. You don't want to do that, okay? See, they'll talk to them from a safe distance and try to convince them to come back and not do it. You know, they're not going to tell them, okay, go ahead, throw yourself off the building, see if I care. See, people don't do that normally, especially an authority figure. So yeah, if you went to the trouble to go to a tall building and you're considering jumping off and you're standing right on the edge, that's definitely high on the crazy scale. Much worse. And there have been, cases where somebody changed their mind. You know, I remember. I mean, you can go on YouTube and like I say, I'm encouraging positive energy. But one of the things I want to do every once in a while in my videos here, I want to help everybody understand negative energy. It's better if you want to know how to defeat your enemy. You need to understand it. So if you have a better understanding of all the bad things in life, of all the negative things in life, we can help defeat negative energy if we understand negative energy. We understand it, we master it. Then we know how to utilize positive energy. So there's a YouTube video, and I mean, it's totally out there. I don't remember exactly what the name of the video it was, but if you go on YouTube and you search for like suicide Golden Gate Bridge, I've seen this video more than once. There was some young man who jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. He jumped off, and he said, like a couple of seconds right after he jumped off, he regretted it. And he fell into the water, and I guess he was falling like at 70 miles an hour, and he survived. Now, he said in the video there are probably, I don't know, like 1,100 or 1,000 people every year who jump off the Golden Gate Bridge and, plunge to their death. And it's very rare that somebody will survive. He survived, and he was swimming in the water, and he totally regretted it. And I think he said it was his father or stepfather or foster father, whoever, who went to see him in the hospital, and he said to his father, "I'm sorry, I totally regret doing that." So, and this guy was a young man. I mean, I think he was in his 20s. So, he survived jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge. And, yeah, he was, he had a lot of problems. Things were not going so well in his life. But, obviously, in a case like that, like let's say, here's another good thing to talk about. Let's say somebody tried to commit suicide and they were unsuccessful. Now, I've noticed, and I don't keep up to date with every single statistic there is out there, and I'll admit I don't like watching the news or even reading about a lot of things in the news. I mean, I'll have things pop up on my phone, but it's all bad news. The way the news media is, there's no news like bad news, because good news they feel is entertaining and nobody wants to pay attention. And yeah, I understand. I mean, obviously, people normally will not be fascinated by positive energy in the news. They'll be fascinated by terrible things in the news. Somebody watching me on Facebook? Guy Joseph Raby. Good morning from Ascension, Tawas City, Michigan. Good morning to you as well, Guy. So I guess it's probably about 5 a.m. where you are. It's 2 a.m. here. So thank you. Anyways, for people out there who commit suicide or try to commit suicide and they're unsuccessful and they lived through it even though that was not their original plan. I've noticed those people tend to have a lot of regret, like, oh my gosh, I'm still here, I'm still alive, I tried to end my life, but I'm still here. Well, I guess then I do have a purpose, or God has a purpose for me. So I'm going to dedicate my life to helping people so they don't feel what I feel, so they don't go through what I went through, so they don't try to do what I tried to do but was unsuccessful at it. That's usually how those people feel. And like I said, I had suicidal thoughts a long time ago. I never tried to do it. I never tried to end my life. I never tried to, hurt myself to the point of death. I never did that. I just thought about it. So I was one of those people who talked to other people because I wanted to find a way out. Before I did something I definitely would have regretted later, and I'm glad that I didn't do it. So I guess I would probably be, back then, I'd probably, on that scale, I'd be like a 2, maybe, because I didn't even try. Other cases, like let's say somebody takes a lot of sleeping pills, or whatever kind of pills. You know, they wolf down a whole bottle of pills and then they die. Now, I've never met anybody who told me that they did that or tried to do that. I will say this, a couple years ago, I had a very dear friend who told me that their son took 300 ibuprofen pills and he killed himself. Need a drink, hold on. And I remember exactly where I was when I heard this. See, this person was a very dear friend of mine. I haven't seen this person in a while. But they, I remember I was at the dentist when I got this text. And they texted a bunch of their very dear friends, and I was one of them. I was sitting in the dentist chair waiting for the dentist to get over to me. And I got this massive text, and they said that their son, who was like 25 years old, took 300 ibuprofen pills. He even left a suicide note, and he died. He had no wife, no kids. And my friend was very devastated. And yeah, I would be too. They said that, and like I said, I'm going to try to be vague, so I'm not going to, you know, I want to be as general as I can. I don't want to give away things where, you know, I'd be disclosing people's identities. I did not know my friend's son. They said that their son had been in and out of a mental hospital like 10 times in 3 years. You know, went in, went out, went in, went out, and they were just very, very devastated because their parents got divorced. So that's part of the reason that the son was, you know, so devastated and just very, very unhappy. And at first I asked my friend, was this intentional or accidental? And they said, no, it was intentional. They even left a note. And I was like, oh my dear, oh my gosh, that was bad. Now, as far as somebody who, it's one thing to think about suicide, but to actually do it, to actually do the deed, to actually do these things that I'm talking about, there's a difference between being sad and devastated, which is something I went through. There's a total difference between being sad and devastated and traumatized and being crazy. They're two different things. Sad, devastated, crazy, two completely different things. Some people try to roll those things in together, and look, I respect your opinion if that's how you feel, but that's not how I feel. Being sad, being devastated are two completely different things than being crazy. So let's say you think about taking pills, but you don't actually do it. You didn't ingest any pills. Okay, I don't think you're crazy. You were just really sad and you weren't in the right frame of mind, but you needed some time to think and you thought about it and then you chose not to do it. But to actually do it, well, yeah, that, I would say wolfing down pills, definitely a 10 on the crazy scale. Definitely a 10. So, I mean, for somebody who, let's say, like, they have the pills and they're putting them in their mouth, and let's say they wolf down, like, I don't know, a few of them, but not 300 or even 100. I find it very unlikely that they would spit those pills out and try to pull themselves together. I mean, once you've ingested all the pills, then yeah, there's no turning back. You're probably going to either die or end up waking up in the hospital days later, you know. So yeah, definitely taking a lot of pills would, yeah, that ranks high on my crazy scale. Or even here. I've seen a lot of prank videos on YouTube. You know, there's all kinds of stuff out there. I'm sure all of you go on YouTube and you you listen to music or you watch pranks, you watch things that make you crack up and laugh, and some of them have like a crude sense of humor. Ones that I certainly would never make YouTube videos out of myself, not on this channel, definite, or any channel at all. I don't want to be remembered for being a prankster. I want to be remembered for my positive energy and my kindness. So I'm never going to make prank videos at all. So anyways, I once saw a prank video. I'm sure you've heard of the Windex prank. Like, there are some people out there who they'll put pour blue Gatorade or Powerade and an empty Windex bottle. I mean, they poured all the Windex out, they cleaned it up real nice, and then they pour blue Gatorade or blue power drink in there, and then they walk around in public and they're drinking out of it, making people think that they're drinking Windex when they're not. It's really Gatorade, and they're just trying to get some big reactions and just, play around, pulling pranks. Okay? Now, yeah, I'm sure you've heard of that. Having said that, now, let's say you see somebody doing it, and all right, yeah, anyways, yeah, now I'm not talking about the prank anymore. Now I'm talking about the real thing. Let's say somebody does drink Windex or a chemical of some kind that could kill them, and they're doing it right in front of you, or they're doing it in public, and they do that, and now obviously if you drink chemicals that are not intended to be ingested, then yes, you can end your life or suffer some very serious health conditions. Now, if you drink Windex, then yeah, the real thing, on my crazy scale, that definitely would be a 10. You're drinking chemicals that are not meant to be drank, you want to end your life, and you obviously want to put on a show for other people. That definitely ranks high on my crazy scale. Because, well, I mean, let's face it. Let's say somebody does drink Windex. I find it to be very odd. Like, somebody would be like, wow, I drank this and it tastes really bad. I think I'll stop. I don't want to do this. I don't want to end my life. I'll just go back to living my life. I mean, you're going to need medical attention, because if you drink that stuff, yes, you definitely are going to need medical attention. I don't want to go over the details here. But, yeah. I mean, let me know where the Windex thing ranks on your crazy scale. You'll probably say higher than 10, or even lower. But I'll be surprised if you're going to say it ranks less than 10 in your eyes. So, and was there another thing I wanted to cover? No, I think that's it. But like I say, there is a big difference between thinking about ending your life, wanting to end your life, and actually doing it. When you do things that will lead to something like the point of no return, like jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge, throwing yourself out of a window, strapping a bomb to yourself, or doing something to hurt yourself, like let's say you bang your head on the wall, or you hit yourself in the head with a hammer, okay? Those things definitely rank high on my crazy scale, because once you're actually doing these things, yeah, you've passed over from sad and devastated into crazy, because you're already doing these things, you're already committing the actions, you're already doing something that leads to the point of no return. Now, obviously, none of us ever want to get to that point of no return. There will be times in our lives when we're not going to be very happy. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. Life is filled with positive and negative energy, but no matter what, we want to overwhelm ourselves with what? Positive energy. Or, as this community is named, Catholic positive energy. So, like I say, I never tried to end my life, and I'm glad. But for people who actually try to and actually succeed, yeah, that passes over into crazy. Because I don't think anybody would ever consider, like, let's say somebody ended their life and they were successful. And people who knew them, like the deceased person's friends or family, I don't think anybody would say, oh yeah, they were a totally sane person. Or here's something that happens a lot. Let's say you see in the news like a famous person committed suicide. I don't want to mention names. I mean, I'm sure and please don't put names in the comments here. Okay? I mean, I'm sure I already know who you're thinking about. We want to keep this place as positive as possible. Let's say a famous person ended their life and you heard about it, and and a lot of people will think, wow, I never saw that coming. I never would have expected this person to do this. Yeah, I mean, that's how I would feel, especially if it was a famous person who was very successful, who was adored by fans. Wow, I never would have expected this person to do that. Well, they did. See, you don't know what's going on in their life. Everything may seem fine and dandy, but that may not always be the case. And then they do things like this, and then it's a shock to the world. So, I've recently learned it's best not to judge people when they're at their worst. You know, there's different levels of crazy. There's different levels of judging. There's different levels of thinking. So like I say, most people, when they say somebody's crazy, they don't even have a 1 to 10 scale. They just say, you're crazy, you're absolutely crazy. I don't think that somebody's less crazy than another person. I mean, they just universalize, globalize the word crazy, and I feel that that's inaccurate. You shouldn't be doing that. So, like I say, there are different levels of crazy, and yeah, I think I've certainly talked about that here. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I don't mind if you disagree with me. Like I say, look, I always say dignification is better than criticism, but I never say that you can't disagree with me. Sure, feel free to disagree with me if you do. I don't expect everybody to, but at least I hope you understand where I'm coming from, my thoughts, my feelings, and why I think and feel the way I do about these things. So I hope you understand. But yeah, feel free to disagree if you have a different opinion. That's totally fine by me. So I hope this has helped you understand more about the word crazy, or certain people you might consider to be crazy. Hopefully I'm not one of them. I try not to be. So, understand negative energy, understanding the mind of a negative person. I know I made a video about that several months back, understanding negative energy or understanding the mind of a negative person. When we truly understand negative energy, then we can truly be positive people. So I hope you enjoyed this broadcast. Thank you for always being very supportive. I continue to see a lot of growth here, and I'm very happy that each and every one of you are here and you're supporting me and supporting each other. God bless every single one of you. Next week we'll have the prayer and meditation broadcast. I'll be back here with the waterfall, and I certainly look forward to always being here with you guys every single week without fail. So take care, God bless, and please remember, dignification is better than criticism.